I wanted to share a success I had when trying to create a digital backup that is attached via network that I could put into my fire and waterproof safe. So I want to go over kind of my objectives, my goals, the hardware that I selected, a lot of which I had in-house, how I set up that hardware from both a wiring standpoint as well as configuration, and then looking at some of the performance aspects. So when looking at this, I wanted to try and find a fire and water resistant solution. So I went and found a safe that has a power outlet that allows power devices to live inside it. I needed it on site. I wanted it locked. I needed to create a way for it to have network access. Yes, there are some of these safes built with network access ports, but the price tag went up tremendously. I needed a fairly automated backup system, something that's fairly low maintenance. I wouldn't have to check in with all the time, and I wanted it to keep the elements out and also keep everything inside that safe as well. So no external excess thermal runaways or temperatures, not too much humidity, that kind of stuff. So what I found was kind of the following hardware. So first off, I've spent a lot of time looking for something that's not only fire rated, but also water rated. So I don't believe on the website currently for this specific sports afield safe, it lists its water rating. However, that is a picture of my safe on the inside of the door. It says it's rated up to 7 days waterproof. This was all lab tested, so this is definitely something that I considered, because whenever there's fire, eventually there's going to be water. I also went ahead and put in some QR codes and links so that way you can find the same products, because I know prices are going to vary and change quite a bit over time. So regardless, this is the network equipment. So I already had in-house this NAS Netgear device. It's discontinued. It was sitting on a shelf doing a whole lot of nothing for me. It was running some backups, but nothing super important. Everything I run nowadays is off of a Synology. Definitely use a product or a company that's going to be around for a while when it comes to network attached storage devices. Outside of that, I located an Ethernet over power. I'm going to refer to that as an EOP device. That's that TP-Link AB1000 power line. Basically, you plug one of those Ethernet, I'm going to call it dongles, into the same power circuit. So inside that your house, if this electrical circuit from one outlet to the next outlet's on the same circuit, it can take any type of internet or network connection. You plug into one side, you plug the dongle into a power outlet, obviously to power it on, and then it will basically use a frequency carrier to take that network connection and put it onto your power for that specific circuit. So you got to make sure your safe is connected to the same electrical circuit as well. So usually same room or conjoined rooms are ideal for that type of setup. And then I also put a network switch. I wanted to find a very low power switch. I went with kind of a Netgear theme a little bit, with a Netgear switch and a Netgear NAS. The switch itself is unmanaged. It's a gigabit switch, low power consumption, not a whole lot of ports. The reason I wanted that was to maximize the network connection itself. The NAS allows for me to bond the two network connections on the back that are also gigabit. They are bonded in an adaptive load standpoint. It allows me just to get the maximum amount of data transfer available. I also put a battery backup in there. I want this NAS to be able to survive or auto shut down when it comes to power outage times. And so I went ahead and put this APC 550 in there. The only thing, caveat I want to make sure that you're aware of is when the TP-Link power line adapter, make sure that the opposite adapter is connected to the surge protection side only, because this APC will filter out any type of frequency or noise that's on the circuit, and you will lose network connectivity. So make sure that the TP-Link is on the surge protection side on inside that safe. Additionally, this APC has a USB connection, so that way it will notify my NAS to auto and safely shut down, so I don't run any risk of data issues or data loss. And with all this, since the safe itself is fairly insulated from temperature outside of the safe, it's also going to be insulating and holding temperature inside the safe. So I wanted to be able to monitor the temperature and the humidity. I actually bought this device long before I even considered this project, so I could see what all of my precious items were experiencing inside that safe. It's a data logger. It's got 16,000 data points for both temperature and humidity. It's going to show me the min-maxes and averages as I click through its screens as well. And everything's downloadable. So I can put that in an Excel file and take a quick look to see if there's any spikes or any weird anomalies inside that safe. Obviously, I haven't seen any, but regardless, it was a good peace of mind to have. That thermocouple, the metal part on this device, I did put at the highest point of my safe. I wanted to see the absolute hottest temperature that the NAS was creating inside that safe over long periods of time of operation. So here's the wiring guide with the far right picture showing exactly how things are wired in and set up. I do have a couple of extra power outlets there, or power connectivity pieces on that APC, more so because I have other things it's charging and making available to have power whenever I need it to be. Regardless, you essentially connect your internet to one of the TP-Link EOPs, connect that to your house power. That house power circuit needs to be connected to the same safe, so they're all in the same electrical circuit. Inside the safe, it again allows for a power connection through. It's a sealed and fire-rated connection. That APC is then connected to that, and the opposing dongle is now on the APC surge side. The TP-Link then connects to the netgear, and the netgear then is bonded with 2 ports onto the back of the Ready NAS. So fairly simplistic, a lot of little steps here, but it all has been working very, very good. Now, specifically netgear, this is kind of how I have it set up, so you understand what's inside that NAS device. I have 4 10-terabyte drives, all on a RAID 5. The physical backup size is only 8-9 terabytes, give or take. So something fairly significant, but not over the top. I did set up my specific NAS to go to my Synology and download copies utilizing more of a remote SMB copy functionality. I alternate the days on the different folder structures that I have. I kind of just wanted to show you what those kind of looked like. So that way the NAS isn't just polling all the time. I did see from a data standpoint, and we'll get to that, for the initial backup, I needed to have the NAS outside of the safe to get the highest network transfer speeds for that initial backup copy. Because from after that, it's all been fairly ancillary. So every individual file, and even some of the home movies and whatnot that are gigabytes in size, they transfer fairly well, very well overnight. I also went ahead and set up the power configuration on this NAS. So I did a few things. Is I wanted to minimize the utilization or the constant use of the drives on that NAS. So I definitely enabled disk spin down, so it's not being used as heavily. I created a power timer, so it's going to be on and operating and running its backups, specifically from 11 p.m. all the way up to 7 a.m., and then it'll shut off in those time windows, so that way we're not building temperature day after day after day. I did run this entire system for a solid, not with no spin down, no power timer, etc., for an entire month, and didn't have any difficulties, and I'll get to that here in just a little bit. Just in case I need to get back to that NAS while it is sleeping and I am awake, I turn on that wake on LAN so I can enable it. And then, of course, I automatically set up my UPS backup, so that APC device I talked about, through its USB connection. The Ready NAS acknowledges it, it sees it, and when it hits its 20% of battery life left, it'll shut itself down. We're seeing about an estimated 44 minutes of runtime if necessary after a power outage, but I don't anticipate needing all of those 44 minutes, and more so just shut it down safely. So here's the performance aspect of it. I'm missing a couple temperatures on individual hard drives you'll see towards the center of the screen. That's just the web interface. Normally they're there. I just didn't have that at the time I took the screenshot. Regardless, after a month's worth of testing, these are the temperatures that I'm seeing on average. And I could provide those data points with my data logger here if ever requested. But the hard drive temperatures from an operating standpoint, anywhere from 107 to 120, the CPU from 105 to 146. And then, like I said, I put the thermocouple at the top of the ceiling, and we were seeing temperatures between 65 to 86 degrees inside the safe at the highest point. You'll see that at about 5 a.m. this morning, I went ahead and looked at the data logger, and it was reading live at 76.1 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's warmer inside that safe, but the humidity stays very low with the temperatures as they warm up, and realistically the temperature stays at a very moderate temp in general. And you can also see the UPS is again estimated at that 44 minutes of runtime. Now, transfer speeds. This is probably the bigger piece of all of this, is we want to make sure that we're getting some decent transfer speeds. There are got to be better ways to do than what I have done to get it to go even faster, but this is effective for me right now. So I'm averaging about 20 megabytes per second. That's according to Netgear's web interface of what they're telling me. When I've run some independent tests, I get a variety of speeds, but it is still around that 20 megabytes per second. I have seen faster. I also have seen slower. The network on my specific NAS allows me to bond the 2 gigabytes, the 2 individual gigabit networks on the back. They are bonded in an adaptive load standpoint, so I can tap into both of those, if you will. Additionally, just out of safety's sake, I went ahead and thought about what happens if there is a thermal runaway. If the hard drives are running way too hot, CPU's running way too hot, for whatever reason the Netgear is not shutting itself down. And the things that are in there that are very important to me, documents, precious commodities, etc., I went ahead and also purchased these document protectors. Everything fits in there really well. Anything from mortgage documents to money, etc. It's just another peace of mind to make sure that if there's anything that gets too hot inside that safe, those documents will be additionally protected. I've also got to thinking and seen pictures of safes that have undergone high thermal loads, so that 1400 degrees plus. And what you'll usually see of the products inside that safe is they're going to be smoldered, smoked, very brittle, and that's when they are exposed inside the safe. So if you put them inside this document, it's just going to be a double layer of heat protection as well as they're waterproof. So wanted to put a link and a QR code in here for you if you are interested in duplicating my setup. So overall, I'm super happy with my setup. It's been very minimal maintenance. I hardly have to check on it. I've had phenomenal backups, and it's all on-site and locked. I have a great peace of mind. I hope this helps you guys. Feel free to ask any questions. Take care.